If you're feeling lately as a DoorDash driver, you're not making money at night when it used to be the biggest money making time, you're not alone. Is it just me, or have DoorDash's peak time shifted or even changed? In this video, we are going to get into our peak times changing. Why would they change? And what can you do if this is happening in your market? Some dashers who claim to be experts say go out during peak times to make the best money on DoorDash. It sounds like sound advice. It's like DoorDashing 101, right? You were told from the very beginning the best times to make the most amount of money are like lunch times from 10 to 2, and then dinner times from like 4:30 to 8. And then you follow this advice and you think, I thought I was supposed to be making all this money. What happened? Heck, even I've talked about it on this channel to know your market and to find out what those times are. I said to be an expert. No one knows your market better than you do. But what if the peak times aren't really true? What if there has been a shift, and if you don't adapt, you could be making less and less money? So this is my opinion and my observations. Every market is different, but I work this app almost every single day, and I feel like I need to put this disclaimer in there, because especially about markets being different, because I feel like in every video now, because there's always someone who says, well, that's not in my market, and you're absolutely correct. But everyone can get something out of this, because DoorDash changes all the time, and every driver should be prepared to adapt and change to continue making money on DoorDash. So, are peak times changing? So stick with me on this one for a little bit, because I've noticed a shift, at least in my market, over the past month. And it could just be that we're during slow times again, but I don't think that's the case here. But dinner time was like my bread and butter, right? I used to kill it with DoorDash because of the dinner rush and people ordering dinner. Fantastic. Well, it's interesting, because over the past month, I've now been making more money during the day than I do at nighttime. And at first I'm like, it's just a fluke week, whatever. And then it happened again, and then it happened again. And then this week, it is really noticeable. And you're gonna have to let me know, are you experiencing the same thing in your market? Night times have been oh my God, what the heck is happening out there? It gets you thinking of what it used to be versus what it currently is. So it really makes me think, is the peak times not really relevant anymore? During the summer is one thing, because I feel like summer is a completely different animal than, fall and winter. People's eating habits change. Daylight savings happens even though we haven't gotten that far yet into the season. So that's a natural progression, but there's always been a dinner rush. And now, not so much. So it gets me thinking as a driver, well, if I'm not making money during this time anymore, what the heck am I doing? What am I doing to adapt, to change to it? And if I'm going through this, there has to be other drivers going through the same exact thing. So why are peak times changing? Well, I talked about it a little bit. It could be because of the season. That does happen from time to time. Not as steady as it has been, at least for me in my market. Also, customers' ordering habits change. They might not be ordering out as much anymore. People are gearing up for the holiday season, and people are holding on to money more than they have been in the summer, where they're usually on vacations, or they're like, let's go out to dinner. It's summertime. Let's enjoy the nice weather. It becomes the holidays are coming up. I need to start saving to make sure I have enough money to buy all the holiday gifts that I can possibly get. But people's spending habits definitely change during this time of year. Another thing is if you haven't adapted to the other types of deliveries on DoorDash, it's where the DoorDash app is heading. They're focusing a lot on customers to do their grocery shopping, to do their alcohol shopping, everything except food delivery. And the app is shifting a lot in a couple of these directions. So it's just something to consider. It could be another reason why there's a shift. It might not have to do anything with the customer. It actually might have to do with Dashers themselves, right? So more Dashers are working during peak times because that's when they're told to work. So now we're flooding markets. Not that they're not already flooded already, but you have a whole bunch of new drivers coming in every single day. And they're told to work the dinner. That's when you get the most amount of money. Well, you have a lot of Dashers going out at nighttime because a lot of Dashers work under 10 hours or less. And the times that they have are after work. So you have Dashers going out trying to make a couple of dollars when everybody else is too. And that's when a lot of oversaturation happens in market. And then you might not be getting orders. You might not be making money. And it could end up being one of the worst times for you to work. So before I can get into what you should do if this is happening in your market, let me know. Are you noticing a shift in peak times in your own market? Has it affected the money you're making? And what are you doing about it? Okay, so what can you do? Adapt. The name of the game with DoorDash, and it always has been, if something isn't working, you need to change and try something different until you find out what is working in your market. The minute that I identify that something's definitely going on with DoorDash and I'm not making the money that I used to during the times that I'm working, first of all, something's up and I'm like, what the heck is going on? But just because something's up doesn't mean that I stop continuing to make money. I just work differently and I adapt and I figure something else out so that way I still end up making my goals. That's what it's really all about. So I know this sounds easier said than done, but you need to find out what the new peak times are and what is working in your market by working different hours, and especially if you're not finding yourself making the same money. So for me, I have the luxury of having a flexible schedule that I can play around with my schedule and really figure out, do I need to work earlier? Do I need to work later? Like, what is the shift that is happening during my time? This one, I say it all the time on this channel, and I'm going to reiterate it once more. Work different apps. Find other apps in your market that work along with DoorDash. And that way you have DoorDash is slow, and this is the only time you have to work. And this is for my part-time drivers out there. You're not sitting around saying, what the heck is happening on DoorDash? No, DoorDash who? Because you just turned on Uber Eats or you just turned on Grubhub or what other apps are in your market. The idea is if DoorDash isn't working for you, what app is working for you, especially if you only have a specific time to work. Next, schedule is your best friend when it comes to DoorDash, because if every Dasher who can work is trying to get on at the same time you are, it might not be available, and then you can't make any money altogether. It actually gives you the flexibility of working when you want to work on DoorDash, but unfortunately you have to schedule. And for me, the last thing is to work the new peak hours in your market once you figure out what they are, to see if you can make more money. Like I've learned right now that the shift for my market is happening earlier on in the day. So how much more can I get accomplished during the day so I don't feel as much pressure at night? And I am working myself differently in order to achieve that. So I hate to say it because I feel like it's such a generic term. Adapt to doing something different, whatever that means to you. It could be adapting your schedule. It could be adapting to working different apps. It could be adapting to working DoorDash differently. You might not be a platinum driver and you might try it. You might not or you might not have toggled shop and delivers or alcohol deliveries. And you're just like, let me give it a try. What do I have to lose? There's always different ways of working the DoorDash app. You just need to find the good combination or the right combination that's going to work for you. But let me know, what have you tried if this shift is happening in your own market? To me, it's very interesting to see the changes of DoorDash over the years. This is just another change that you need to adapt to. And it might be a temporary change, but if you don't adapt, you could be losing money. I don't want you to lose money. You know, I do a lot of DoorDash content on this channel, and if you're looking to watch more DoorDash videos, I'm going to suggest you check this one out next. I'll see you over there.